The community had wanted to have a community forum, with even the candidates that are, that maybe aren't in the front, such as the attorney and the judge, and so we're having this forum tonight. So for the community, and hopefully a whole bunch are listening, or whoever is, hopefully they'll find it worthwhile. And I want to just start out by acknowledging Judge Davis. And I was around back in 2000, I think it was 12 or 13, when Judge Davis was named to the court, and he's been an excellent judge. It's going to be tough shoes to fill. But what I'm really pleased to tell everybody is that we had 24 candidates apply. City Council, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we interviewed 4. And once again, all 4 candidates were excellent. Tonight, we wanted you to meet 2 of the candidates, which is Judge Bachman and Judge Delgado, that you'll get to know a little bit more tonight. Both of them are certainly qualified to do the job. We were trying to gauge who will be the best fit for our community. So we want your feedback, community, and the way to give feedback tonight during the forum and after the forum. We really want to make a decision next Tuesday, so we're going to limit feedback until what, 5 o'clock till tomorrow? Is that what it is, Amy?
We put noon tomorrow, so
noon tomorrow. So we like your feedback fairly quickly. If you want to give feedback, it is hr@broomfield.org. So let me repeat, that's hr@broomfield.org. And once again, it's another building block in building the Broomfield that we want it to be. The judge is one of the more important faces of the community, as I found out over the years. So let's turn it over to Amy Collins, and I want to thank Amy for all her effort in this. She's done a lot of work and done a great job. And so Amy's going to lead the forum tonight, ask the questions, and I will turn it over to her.
Thank you, Mayor Quinn and Council. Good evening. I'm Amy Collins. I'm the Deputy Director of Human Resources here at the City and County of Broomfield, and I'd also like to welcome you. Thank you for taking the time to be here. City Council has a tough decision to make, and your feedback, as the Mayor has mentioned, is a crucial piece of the process. First, just to explain the process, we put the candidate's name in a hat and drew the names. Judge Bachman, your name was picked first, so we put you as number 1 for this process. And Judge Delgado, your number will be 2 through the process. Second, each candidate has 4 minutes to tell who you are. Third, the community was requested to submit questions in advance. So we've received quite a few questions, and we've gone through those questions that seem most pertinent to this process. Each candidate will have the opportunity to answer the questions. We'll rotate who answers first and second, and each candidate will have 3 minutes for each question. Questions will be timed, and you'll see Amy Wells in the screen there. She will hold up the time at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 15 seconds remaining. And then we'll ask you to wrap up once your time has run out. So what we'll do is we'll move to the self-introductions of the candidates. And again, each candidate has 4 minutes to introduce themselves, and Judge Bachman will turn that over to you.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Bachman, and I am currently the county court judge here in Broomfield County. I've had that role for about the last 15 years. Prior to being appointed to the county court bench, I was a magistrate for the City and County of Denver for 2 years. And before that, I was an attorney with the Colorado State Public Defender's Office for about 9 years. I know Broomfield. I love this town. This is where I've worked for the last 15 years. It's where I've lived for the last 22 years. And it's where my husband and I have raised our 3 kids. I'm vested in elevating my community. I see the role of the court as not just addressing cases, but really treating the individual. And with that in mind, I've had the opportunity here in Broomfield through the county court to implement 2 treatment courts or problem-solving courts here. The first is one that targets those offenders who have picked up multiple DUI convictions. And it really gives the individual in those courts the opportunity to stay on track, get the help that they need, and also enhances community safety. And then the second treatment court is the Female Opportunity Program, which is a program that targets women that are deemed to be high risk and high need. Now, the success of both of these courts, in large part, has been based on the tremendous buy-in from the stakeholders here in Broomfield, who share that same vision of really treating the individual. So I'm hoping to be able to carry that on through the municipal court. Now, you already have a very well-run, fantastic municipal court here in Broomfield, but I'm seeing this as an opportunity to really expand the role of the court. There are those in the community that right now are struggling, those that are suffering from homelessness, mental health issues, substance abuse issues, those that are dealing with basic insecurities with food and housing, juveniles that are picking up multiple curfew violations and truancy violations. And all of these individuals, or a lot of them, are winding up, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of them are winding up in the criminal justice system. If we could reach them and connect with them at a community level early on through the municipal court, then the hope is that we can steer them away from the state courts. And provide them with a much more promising future and hope. And that's what really excites me about this role.
Thank you. All right, we will turn it over to Judge Delgado. You have 4 minutes.
Well, thank you to the mayor and to City Council. I'm honored to be one of the candidates for this position. 2001, when Broomfield became a city and county, I applied to be the county court judge at that time because of how much I love Broomfield. At that time, I believe Judge Davis was selected to be the county court judge at that time. And the next year, I was selected to be a district court judge for the 17th Judicial District. I have lived in Broomfield for 32 years. I have raised my husband and I have raised our 3 children here. They're all grown men. I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of the education that they received here in Broomfield. You know, my background before I was appointed to the bench was as a prosecutor in the 20th Judicial District, which is Boulder County. There were many cases. At that time, Broomfield was part of the 20th Judicial District. I had the opportunity over my years as a prosecutor to work with the Broomfield Police Department. In fact, I think they knew how to get to my house because it was much easier for them to drive to Kathy Delgado's house than to go all the way to Boulder to get warrants signed. And over my time in the DA's office, I had the pleasure of working with Judge Bachman. Judge Bachman and I have known each other, oh my goodness, for about 25 years. We have been friends for a very long time. Our paths crossed. And I teased her that, you know, we're going back to where we were 25 years ago on opposite sides. But that's really not true because Amy's done an amazing job here in Broomfield. And I had the pleasure of working with her during a chapter of my time as a district court judge from 2009 until 2013. I was assigned here to Broomfield. Over my years as a district court judge, I have handled all of the cases that a district court judge can handle, from domestic relations, criminal, juvenile, civil, and I handled all those kinds of cases when I was here in Broomfield. And that was one of the best experiences that I have had as a district court judge, is having that varied docket. I handled truancy cases here. I handled civil cases, a little bit of criminal when Judge Enzer was ill and I was able to fill in for him. I was able to help Judge Bachman when her dockets were overrun and we did not have magistrate assistance. And it was truly one of the best times that I've had as a district court judge. I was able to work with Judge Davis, with the Broomfield Police Department, with Health and Human Services, our faith-based communities, the schools, and really tried to create a system here in Broomfield where all of the stakeholders were working together to help kids and families. One of the projects that we worked on with the Broomfield Police Department directly impacted the municipal court, the no more summons cases. How many times can a kid come into the juvenile system in the municipal court before they actually come to the state court where the court can provide more assistance to them in terms of probation services? Over my career, outside of what I did in Broomfield, I've created many problem-solving courts. I have an Indian Child Welfare Act court, a drug court for men and women. I created a program for mentally ill defendants in the criminal justice system that really provides them with an opportunity be successful in the community and divert them from jail and from prison. I saw far too many people of color, quite honestly, in that prison pipeline. And I really wanted to stop that and give them an opportunity to be successful citizens, reunite with their families. And I'm really excited about being part of Broomfield again. It's my community and I love it.
Thank you, candidates, for allowing us more time to get to know you better. Now we're ready for the question and answer format. And so again, the community had an opportunity to submit questions ahead of time. We'll select those questions at random. And candidates, each of you will be answering the same questions, and you'll have 3 minutes each for each question. And Amy Wells will reset the timer at the start of each question, and we'll rotate back and forth. So what we'll do is Judge Bachman will have you answer the first question first, and then we'll turn it over to Judge Delgado. And the first question is, why Broomfield, and what are your long-term goals?
So, I think Judge Delgado and I agree that Broomfield's our community. It's our hometown. This is where I want to be. And as far as my long-term goals, this is where I want to stay. I mean, I've been the county court judge here for 15 years. I've established amazing relationships with an incredible police department, Health and Human Services, the local organizations that really rally around this community. I mean, it's a community of about 75,000 people now, but it still has that small town feel, and I want to hang on to that. So we have all of the resources here to really rally around those that need our support. And that's what, again, really draws me to this role. Yes, I can stay in the position of the county court and we'd be very happy, but I see this as an opportunity, again, to really just engage with all of the stakeholders in the community to really just provide additional support here in Broomfield. So my long-term goals really is to stay in this position and really just perhaps with the help of what I see as a really progressive, really engaged city council to really just expand the role of the municipal court. I see this as, more of a service-oriented role than a sanction-oriented court. I mean, I understand that there are certain things that need to be addressed as the role of the municipal judge, but we can do so much more. I truly do believe that, and I think now is the time to really be there in a way that helps elevate all of those in our community together. And so I'm looking forward to being able to do that with all of the individuals that I've already worked with to create really unique community-driven programs here in the county court and just expand that as part of the municipal court as well.
Great, thank you. Judge Delgado, so the question is, why Broomfield, and what are your long-term goals?
Well, just like Judge Bachman, this is my community. Being the municipal court judge is my long-term goal. I have wanted this position for many, many years. I told Judge Davis many years ago when I was in Broomfield, I said, when it's time for you to retire, could you please let me know? Because I will retire from the district court bench and would love to serve the Broomfield community. This is my home. I have provided over 30 years of being a public servant in Boulder County and in the 17th Judicial District. And I really want to focus on my abilities to bring people together, to problem solve, to serve the underserved, to bring services to whatever communities are needed. And I want to do that in Broomfield. And over the years that I was here, I certainly understand the issues that face our families. And I think especially this year, this past year with COVID, certainly families are struggling. I see that in my court every day. And it is a privilege to serve families who are underserved, to bring them to the table, to be compassionate with their situation, to engage them and to make them feel that someone in a position of power cares for them. And it is a privilege to serve on the bench. I'm grateful for the opportunity I have been given over my career, but I really want to focus on my community. I've had the ability to serve a much broader part of the 17th Judicial District. Now I want to focus on the community that I love and this is what I want to do for the rest of my career. I don't plan on moving anywhere else. I have no plans of applying for any other judgeships.
Thank you, Judge Delgado. And we'll actually have you answer this question first.
Okay.
And the question is, what do you do to ensure consistency and equity in the courtroom?
Well, that is something that I have to do every single day. And I guess I can talk about a situation, a hearing that I had today where I felt that one of the lawyers was being very unfair to parents because she was unwilling to recognize that people can change. She was so focused on what they did in the past. And I said, what kind of a judge would I be if all I did was look at a person's past and I didn't give them an opportunity to learn from the mistakes that they have made? And I believe that's my role, is to be fair and to be open and transparent and to meet people where they're at, give them an opportunity to be part of the process, and really to make sure that everyone else, all of the other stakeholders also are giving them that opportunity and don't come into a case with a decision already made.
Thank you, Judge Delgado. Judge Bachman, same question. What do you do to ensure consistency and equity in the courtroom?
Well, first and foremost, I believe the role of the judge, quite frankly, is to treat everyone who comes into the courtroom with dignity and respect. I'm committed to promoting a court that facilitates inclusion and equity and justice every single day. That's just what my focus is and always has been. You may not always like the outcome of your case in my courtroom, but my hope is that every litigant feels like they've had an opportunity to be heard. It's about integrity, not just for the specific case, but for the system in general. With that in mind, again, I remember what it's like to be a public defender. Every single day I'm on the bench. I always carry with me the cases that stuck out where I felt like my clients didn't have a voice, that they were treated differently. Disparate treatment is something that, quite frankly, is not okay. It needs to be addressed. At least it's at the forefront of discussions now, but we can do better. And so I, again, have witnessed what I believe to be perhaps those who were excluded from really the equitable treatment that is deserved in every single courtroom in this country, quite frankly. And I carry those cases with me as a judge on the bench, and I will do that as I have for the last 15 years if I get this role as the municipal court judge here in Broomfield.
Thank you, Judge Bachman, and we'll give you this question first. And the question is, what should be the goals of the Broomfield Municipal Court?
Well, first and foremost, great customer service. I mean, the municipal court really should provide customer service for every person that appears in the courtroom. And there's different goals, quite frankly, depending on the case. There are those cases that need to be handled efficiently, and we've talked about this a little bit. If you get perhaps a speeding ticket and you want to resolve that, there should be ways to resolve that in a way that is efficient and that is fair and that is equitable, and perhaps that takes into consideration the time of the litigants. So if we can improve the process and perhaps in a way have a remote type of police situation, that would be ideal for everyone. And then there are those cases that need more time. There are those litigants that need the contact of the court, and I see that as well. And so for those particular cases, I see the role of the municipal court as really embracing those within the community. Again, this is a local court, right? This is at times the very first and hopefully only contact that individuals will have with the court system. You want them to understand the system. You want them to feel like they're part of the system, that they're being heard, and that they have an opportunity to really make changes at a very local level, being embraced by their community. So that's how I see the municipal role. Efficiency for certain cases, and quite frankly, that saves for the community, and it also saves time and some frustration for the litigants and other cases that need additional support and time. And that's the role of the judge and the stakeholders within the community as well.
Thank you. All right, Judge Delgado, what should be the goals of the Broomfield Municipal Court?
Well, I think what's important is it's important for the judge to understand what the issues are that a community faces. And one of the things that I have been grateful for in my career as a district court judge is the ability to really engage with my community stakeholders and understand what the issues are that are facing the community. And if there are gaps in the municipal court, then bringing together a collaborative group of stakeholders to address that gap and see if there's something else that the municipal court can provide its citizens. I think that is important. I completely agree with Judge Bachman. Customer service is first and foremost. Being efficient, being respectful, but also just trying to ensure that there are no gaps and we're really able to deal with all of the issues that our citizens in Broomfield face.
Thank you. Judge Delgado, we'll have you answer this question first. And the question is, based on what you know about the city and county of Broomfield, what do you believe is the biggest challenge facing our community?
Well, I think right now our biggest challenge is COVID. I mean, it's COVID. When are our kids going to be safe to go back to school? When are our businesses going to be able to open? I think that those are huge issues that are facing the community as a whole. One of the things that I'm so proud of is that I have always felt safe in this community. I would not live anywhere but Broomfield. I wouldn't. This is my home. This is where I've raised my kids. I have confidence in the government in Broomfield. I have confidence in the police department. And again, I think it's just, we have to see what are the issues right now? What are the challenges that our underserved citizens are facing? And what can we do as a community to make sure that their voice is heard, to provide them with the resources that they need, and give them the hope that things are going to get better? Because we all know things are going to get better. It's been tough for the last almost year, but we will get back to normal. We will be able to see each other in person. We won't have to do things on Zoom and on WebEx. We're going to be able to go back to the way things were 2 years ago. And I think to provide that hope to our community is just so important. You know, I think now if you watch the news every day, you see the mental health of people is really suffering. Kids who are committing suicide. I mean, that is a huge issue in our country. Teachers and making sure that they feel safe when they go back into the courtroom. All of those things, I just think for me right now, that is a priority, just to, again, recognize where people are at, give them hope, and let them know that we care.
Thank you. Judge Bachman, based on what you know about the city and county of Broomfield, what do you believe is the biggest challenge facing our community?
Well, first, I'd start out by saying I agree with Judge Delgado. This is an amazing community, a great place to live, but we do have issues that a lot of our citizens, are dealing with that we need to recognize: homelessness, substance abuse issues, and mental health issues. And we can do better in these areas. You know, I'll give an example. I had a case where there was an individual that was charged with trespass for sleeping outside of Broomfield Fish. Okay, and I'm not faulting anyone, but we as a community at the local level can provide them services. And I truly don't believe that the state court system is where they need to wind up. We have too many great resources here. Again, we have amazing local nonprofit organizations. We have Health and Human Services that's incredible, a fantastic police department. We can do better, but those are the issues that we need to address, and they can be addressed at the local level. So specifically as to what issues, it's homelessness, it's substance abuse, and it's mental health issues. that I think we need to really address, and hopefully at the local level.
Thank you. All right, Judge Bachman, we'll have you answer this question first, and it is, if hired, what will you do within the first 6 months?
Okay, well, in the first of all, I want to put it out there that I'm not going to go in and change everything right off the bat. Again, we have a really good foundation, a fantastic municipal court. And I know when certain people take on roles right off the bat, you know, the idea is to change everything, and that is not the plan. But it is to bring the stakeholders together within the first 6 months. Again, the police department, we have mental health partners, we have those that work for Health and Human Services. We have local organizations like Broomfield Fish and A Precious Child, all of these resources within the community that are already dealing with a lot of the individuals that perhaps we're targeting through the municipal court to improve their well-being. So bring everyone to the table, open up a dialogue and a discussion. We have a great city attorney who I think as an office, we can hear from them. We have great defense attorneys who work with the municipal court here. Now, we don't have a public defender system, but we have great local defense attorneys who take a lot of these cases who we would bring to the table, because we'd like to hear what they have to say as far as how we can best facilitate change and also promote, again, that justice that we're all striving for on a local level. So in 6 months, I would be hopeful that we would have that type of a stakeholder community brought together to open up the dialogue and the discussion, to put in place a firm plan on how we're going to implement. Quite frankly, I'd like to see a problem-solving court. You know, we have them all over here surrounding us. In Lakewood has 2. You know, Aurora has a municipal problem-solving court. Westminster does. Thornton does. So I want to put that in place. We can do that here in Broomfield. And with the help of those within our community, I think that that can definitely be facilitated within the first 6 months.
Thank you. Judge Delgado, so if hired, what will you do within the first 6 months?
I think getting to know everyone, establishing relationships, because you can't do anything unless you have a relationship, unless you earn the trust and respect from all of the community members and your stakeholders. You know, when I have been in my position currently, the problem-solving course I had started, it wasn't an overnight thing. I had to bring the right people to the table. They had to all have input, and we all had to agree, this is what we need to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And I think that's really important. And as someone who has worked in Broomfield for just a few years, I'm not like Judge Bachman. I haven't been here for 15 years. I was here, 7 years ago. I want people to get reacquainted with me. I have had the opportunity when I was here to have a best practice court team, and I worked with all of the stakeholders, human services, the police department, municipal courts, the faith-based community, all of the principals. I had that opportunity, but there's probably a lot of new people in those positions, and they need to get to know me. They need to understand that I want to be part of this community. I want to learn from them, and I would hope that they would want to learn from some of the experience that I have, and I think that's really important. You just can't jump in and start changing things. It will never work if you do that. You have to have trust. You have to have respect and relationships. That's how you make change, not just in building programs, but with people that come into your courtroom. They have to know that you are someone that they can trust. You are someone that has compassion and empathy for the situation that they're dealing with.
Great, thank you. Judge Delgado, the next question is, if you can tell us about a situation you encountered on the bench that inspired you to create or implement a program or an idea to improve courtroom efficiency.
That's a lot of years to think about, 18 and a half years. I guess what comes to mind is the drug court that I currently preside over. In my first rotation in juvenile, the program was only for women. And I found that to be truly unfair to men, because I believe that children need mothers and fathers to be safe and stable, to have their mental health and substance abuse issues addressed. So I thought, rather than have a separate court for women and then have the dads not be part of a very unique problem-solving court, that I wanted to have men involved in the program. And I'm really grateful to have that. The men in our family treatment court program are amazing. The caseworkers and the life skills workers that work with them tell me how much they love working with the men. All of the men that are in my program right now currently get every other week when they come to court. We have an award system called the Rocket Docket. They've done all their mental health treatment. They've dropped clean UAs. They're engaging with their children. And to see these men light up when I tell them, you're on the Rocket Docket, you're doing an amazing job. Your kids deserve you in their life. I love that. And it takes the burden off of moms. Moms need dads to help raise their children as well. And that's a program that I'm really proud of, and one that I think really serves families to have both of their parents get the services and the help and the respect that they need.
Thank you. Judge Bachman, tell us about a situation you encountered on the bench that inspired you to create or implement a program or an idea to improve courtroom efficiency.
Well, as far as improving courtroom efficiency, I don't know if this is necessarily something that was encountered on the bench, but we've encountered COVID, and there's a lot of difficulties with COVID, but this has also been a real eye opener as a judge, because utilizing technology, specifically Zoom or WebEx for court, has really improved the efficient running of the courtroom. I'll tell you, a lot of people that are in my court are there because they are there for traffic-related offenses, DUIs, driving under restraint, no proof of insurance, and then we're requiring them to come to court. And, we live in a great community, but it's not the best for public transportation. So I'm telling these folks that don't have driver's license, you have to come to court over and over and over again to see me. And then they're late or they don't make it to court. And, it's not really taking into account their struggles, So the idea of utilizing this technology, not just to address COVID, but in the future to perhaps provide a more efficient way for people to make it to court, taking into consideration their circumstances, I think makes it efficient for everyone. One other example in my courtroom specifically is we have enhanced reviews now, something that I implemented to just encourage those who perhaps are more high-risk offenders to continue to do well on probation. And it has really worked out very, very well. They come back to court, they let me know how they're doing on probation, and we celebrate their victories. And victories for me, quite frankly, at a county court level, and I see it as a municipal level as well, is someone perhaps getting their dentures replaced, someone getting Section 8 housing. I mean, these are huge victories. They may seem small, but they're amazing. And if you can, again, provide an efficient way for individuals to get the help that they need, taking into consideration their life circumstances, it benefits everyone in the community.
Thank you. Judge Bachman, next question is, how do you measure success?
I think, again, what I just said, you can't just take a look at someone and say, you're here, you have a significant substance abuse issue that you've been dealing with, quite frankly, your entire life. I need you to overnight make those changes, maintain your sobriety, get into treatment, get a full-time job, get stable housing. That's a lot to ask of someone. I'm not telling you that's not my hope for an individual, but you have to start with those small successes. If I have someone that's living on the streets and we can get them help to apply for Section 8 housing, that's a success. If I can get someone who perhaps is in a treatment program that is addressing their substance abuse issues, even if they're not maintaining their sobriety, but they're going to treatment and providing UAs, that's a success. If we can get someone who perhaps is struggling with food insecurities, stable in a place where they are not worried about their next meal or where they're going to sleep, that's a success. You have to encourage individuals to really just take a look at day by day type of circumstances as opposed to the big picture. Otherwise, it becomes too overwhelming. Then you can start to address the bigger issues, the underlying issues that may take more time and more effort on the part of the individual and the entire community to really bring about significant changes.
Thank you. Judge Delgado, same question. How do you measure success?
Well, I think it's very different in every single case. For some people, it is going to drop their first UA. And whether it's going to be negative or it's going to be positive, they got there. And that was something that they were required to do. For others, maintaining 1 year of sobriety and clapping for them, jumping up and down and going woohoo. Woohoo is what I usually do in my proceedings when I have someone who has achieved that sobriety. That gives them so much pride. For someone who received a voucher for housing and they're going to be able to have a place for their children. For someone who is able to fix their cars so that they can move around from place to place and follow through with the terms of their probation or the terms of their treatment plan. I think it's very different in every single case. And I think the role of the judge is to look at each case as an individual case and not lump every case together. It is different for every person, and you have to understand what the dynamics are for every person that comes into your courtroom, the trauma that they have experienced, and understand, every person is an individual who has a past. And I think it's a huge mistake that a judge can make if you just put everybody in the same category and have expectations that this is what success means. It has to be individual for every person that comes into your court.
Thank you. Judge Delgado, next question. What do you consider to be your greatest achievement so far and why?
My kids are my greatest achievement. I've obviously my achievements on the bench. I've been given a privilege and an opportunity for the last 18 and a half years to serve the 17th Judicial District. Every day, I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have been given. On a professional level, I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I've created programs that give people opportunities to stay out of prison, to get mental health treatment, to achieve sobriety, to have their children returned home to them, and to be successful members of a community. But I have been married for 39 years, happily married for 39 years. I have 3 amazing sons who were raised here in Broomfield, and I'm proud of them. They're amazing young men, that is my greatest achievement. It's my family, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And when I see the families, the people that have come into my courtroom, the people that I dealt with for 13 years when I was a prosecutor, I am so grateful that I have had a strong foundation with my own family to be able to say today, I've been married for 39 years. I have 3 amazing kids that never got a ticket, they were good, probably because their mom was saying, I'm a DA and don't embarrass me. I'm a judge and don't embarrass me. But they're just great kids. And I want everybody to say that. My greatest achievement is my family, my kids. That's really, as a community, what we want our citizens to say. Your greatest achievement is your family and what you have been able to provide for them. Safety, stability, good role modeling. And I'm just grateful that I have had the life that I've had.
Thank you. Judge Bachman, what do you consider to be your greatest achievement so far and why?
Yeah, I agree with Judge Delgado. Being a mother, quite frankly, is, the greatest achievement that I think I could ever hope for. I have really cool kids. I can't say that they all haven't gotten a ticket. But yes, I mean, they're amazing. And my family is something that I will forever be grateful for and will always be my greatest achievement. But on the bench, I see my role as a judge, my greatest achievement being empowering others. I can sit up on the bench and tell someone, you've got to go to probation, you've got to, successfully complete these classes and maintain your sobriety. But that's just me telling them what I'm hoping they'll be able to do. To empower someone to be able to do that is an entirely different thing. When I see people in my specialty courts who are successful, who graduate, who have maintained their sobriety, who have secured full-time employment and been able to maintain that employment, who now have stable housing, who have a very promising future, and they come in and they share that with me on a level that early on in their case, perhaps they never thought they could ever achieve. That is something that in my mind is the most inspiring thing that I could ever imagine. So empowering others through my role as a judge, quite frankly, from a work perspective, from a career perspective, is my greatest achievement.
Thank you. And Judge Bachman, next question is, what steps do you take to ensure diversity, equity, access, and inclusion?
So again, I am committed to facilitating a court that is one of inclusion, equity, justice, and opportunity. Those experiences, once again, that I had as a public defender for 9 years are experiences that I carry with me and that are reminders, constant reminders of the need to make sure that everyone has a voice in the courtroom, that everyone is treated fairly. Every judge would like to say that they're not biased, but the reality is we all have implicit biases. And if you don't admit that, then there's no solution. So the very first thing that needs to be admitted from everyone is that, we're not perfect, that there may be those implicit biases, and you do everything in your power to recognize them, to address them, and to make sure that they in no way play any type of a role as a judicial officer. I will tell you this, the judicial ethics, code of ethics does not apply to municipal judges. I looked that up. But I will tell you that if I get this role, it will be written into my contract. And it is something that I will promise to abide by, and I will guarantee that the mayor pro tem, city council understand that that is something that I not just say, but that I am held to contractually, because I think it is that important, quite frankly, for the integrity of the court. And so every single day, I remember how important it is for everyone to have the trust of the court, for the court to have integrity. Otherwise, the whole system fails.
Thank you. Judge Delgado, what steps do you take to ensure diversity, equity, access, and inclusion?
Well, this is my passion, quite honestly. I have been honored to serve on national committees to deal with disproportionate treatment. I have lectured across the country on this issue, including in Colorado. This is something that is very important to me for a lot of reasons, because of the role that I hold, obviously as a judge, but also because I am a person of color. I know what it's like to be treated differently than someone else. And I don't want anyone to walk into my courtroom and feel like they're going to be treated differently than their neighbor who looks different than them. And one of the things that I have learned over the years that I have done this work and the trainings that I've done is that these are very difficult conversations to have with your colleagues. And I've had these conversations. They're called courageous conversations. And it's a courageous conversation that we all need to have. And you need to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize that, yes, we do have implicit bias. It is something that exists. It's part of how we were raised. And I think that last year in particular has raised this issue to the boiling point, where we have seen so much happen. And I think this is the time, in American history where it's at the top of the priority that we need to deal with this. And I want to be part of that discussion. I want to have those courageous conversations with people in our community so that we all understand, that we are all the same. We should all have the same opportunity, that anybody who walks into a courtroom, regardless of what color the judge is, who the prosecutor is, who the other attorneys are, you're not going to be treated any differently because of the way you look. And I am committed to that. And that is something that has been so important to me, and a reason why I created, with the help of a collaborative stakeholder group, the Indian Child Welfare Act Court, because throughout our country, not necessarily in Colorado, there is a disproportionate representation of Native American families in child welfare. I'm very proud of our court. We have tribal courts involved with us. It's my favorite court that I do every other Friday, because it gives people an opportunity to know that this is a judge who understands my culture, who understands that I have an identity that needs to be protected. So it is something that is just something that I hold so close to my heart.
Thank you, Judge Delgado. The next question is for you, and it is, what 5 words would describe you as a judge?
Fair, transparent, good listener. Does that count as 2? It probably does. Open.
Thank you. Judge Bachman, what 5 words would describe you as a judge?
Compassionate, honest, equitable, sometimes funny, and I think approachable.
All right. Thank you. In light of time, what we'll do is I want to provide enough time for each of you to provide closing comments. And so what we'll do is we'll turn that over. We'll have Judge Delgado speak first. And again, any closing comments you have, and you have 3 minutes.
Wow. Well, again, I want to thank the City Council and the Mayor for the opportunity to be considered for this position. As I said, this is a position that I have wanted for many, many years. I am so ready to focus my abilities and my talents on the community that I love. I have had many experiences in my personal life, tragedies in my personal life that have really driven me to be a public servant. In my mind, there's nothing greater that you can do than to be a public servant and serve your community. And I have been privileged for over 30 years to do that in my career. I am a very hard worker. I also feel I'm very approachable. People like to talk to me, and I like to talk to them. I respect people, no matter what they look like, no matter whether they come into my courtroom in a raggedy old t-shirt or in a 3-piece suit. I have a lot of empathy for people. And I know that I don't walk in their shoes, that I have privilege. And not everybody has that. But I want them to know that I will respect them no matter where they come from, what issues that they bring. And I'm just grateful to be able to have a role where I can applaud for someone who's never had anyone in a position of power say, "You're doing a great job. You're awesome. I am so proud of you." Those are my favorite moments as a judge, is to lift someone and make them feel like they're important to someone who wears a black robe. If I can do that all day long in my courtroom, I have had an amazing day. So I just am very grateful for this opportunity. I want to serve this community, just Broomfield, not the 17th, just Broomfield. I want to come back to the best chapter in my career. That was from 2009 to 2013. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Judge Delgado. Judge Bachman, it's your turn. You have 3 minutes for any closing comments.
Okay, well, again, I want to thank the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members for this opportunity. Judge Delgado, it was good to be able to share this forum with you tonight. I really am very hopeful about this opportunity with the municipal court here in Broomfield. Again, I see this as an incredible opportunity to really target our community members who may be struggling at a local level. I see this as an opportunity to really work with the 17th Judicial District and to perhaps pair together our resources, build, strengthen that relationship. Because I think it would be good, just not from a relationship standpoint, but from a fiscal standpoint as well. I think, quite frankly, there are a lot of services out there that perhaps can be utilized at a municipal level that aren't being utilized right now. Services that can target those who may be struggling in our community right now with homelessness, with substance abuse issues, with mental health issues, juveniles who are picking up tickets over and over and over again. And perhaps it's because that underlying issue is not being addressed. We have the resources here in Broomfield. I truly do believe that, to address these cases, these individuals, to get them the help that they need. And if I could establish that working relationship, which I know that I can, with the stakeholders in the community, and together with City Council, we could do something really great here. I'll just tell you, just from my research of municipal courts surrounding our jurisdiction here in Broomfield, there's an amazing court that was started up in Loveland that targets those individuals in the community that are homeless. It was started with a volunteer coordinator who herself was homeless, and she volunteered with the municipal court to start up an incredible program. She's full-time now. They've actually hired her on, and she's full-time, but it's because of the success of that court. That's just one example. Brighton has a remote ticket system that I think we could look into here in Broomfield that really would make our municipal court here more efficient for cases that perhaps don't require a significant amount of court time or resources. So let's do this. Let's work together and let's make something amazing here in the Broomfield Municipal Court. I'm so excited about this possible opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to extend the appreciation to both Judge Bachman and Judge Delgado for participating this evening. And as a reminder to the community, please share your feedback either by going to hr@broomfield.org or to the Broomfield Voice on our recruitment page. And Mayor Quinn, do you have any closing comments?
I do. I just wanted to note to council, and I think we discussed it when we had our session and interview before, that and to the community, that the selection of the judge is on the agenda for next Tuesday evening, and so the public, that's why we need a fairly quick turnaround on comments from the public. So it's item 11B for next Tuesday, and I just wanted to make that. And once again, it's been really enjoyable. This process has been the quality candidates. Tonight's forum was very professional, and but also hometown type too. That was kind of cool. So thank you, judges, Delgado and Bachman, for participating tonight. And like I said, we'll discuss this on Tuesday night as item 11B. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Once again,
Bye,
Amy,
everyone.
yeah.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And Amy, once again, thank you. Excellent job.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.